my most polite art students. Welcome to our lesson number 6 of our distance learning partnership. Today's project, as I told you, is piggybacking on last week's project, and we are going to go all about patterns today. This is a beautiful desert spring landscape. If you have gotten a chance to go for a drive recently, you might have seen that all of our beautiful desert wildflowers are in bloom right now, and it is so pretty. So in today's project, we're drawing a desert landscape, and it's going to be in spring bloom. So here we have a saguaro cactus with all of its pretty blooms, and our hot desert sun, and our sandy ground. So let's talk about what's going on here. We have tons and tons of patterns. Patterns are the thing here. Lines and shapes repeated make our patterns. And if you'll look closely, you will see here's our pattern from last week right in here, along with all these other creative patterns. Alrighty, let's do the drawing, and then we'll talk a little more about color. So what we need today are a plain white paper and a thin line marker, or a pen, even like a ballpoint pen would probably work really well as well. And then I used watercolor paints. You could use anything else. You could use colored pencil, you could use washable markers, you could use crayons. I like the watercolor effect, so we'll talk through that, and you use whatever you have handy. All right. If you have your paper and your marker, let's go ahead and begin drawing. Around the center-ish of your paper in the bottom, we are going to make a little hill shape. If my marker wants to work for me. It was working a minute ago. There we go. All right, there's our first little hill. This is where our cactus is going to sit. Our cactus shape is going to be a long oblong shape, followed by 2 curves. Now, one of them is going to be a little higher than the other, and these are the arms of our cactus. That'll be our high one. This will start a little bit lower, not be quite as tall, and a little lower. There we go. All right, let's get these cactus blooms on here. Now, saguaro cactuses blooms all happen at the top of the arms and the trunk. And it reminds me of a person with a flower crown holding 2 bouquets. There you go. Here's how I'm going to make my pretty saguaro bouquets. I'm just going to make several shapes that kind of look to me like miniature clouds. If I was drawing clouds on my paper, I might draw this kind of a shape. I'm going to get some of them on the top and some of them in front. All right, and a little floral crown for this cactus. So pretty. Okay, I'd like to go with the sand next. Now, everything else from here on out is going to end up being behind our cactus. So whenever we get up to the cactus, of course, we want to stop there and not draw through our cactus, because we cannot see through the cactus. And we'll make a couple of layers here of sandy dunes in the background that are kind of irregular shapes. There we go. That looks great. Okay, sun time. We're going to start up in the corner. You can start on either corner you want. I've got to get this out from under my clipboard and go all the way to the edge. I'm going to start at this side, and I'm going to make a small circle. This is not a big sun yet, but it will be. And now we're going to make concentric circles getting larger and larger to fill the whole rest of the paper. Obviously, a whole circle won't fit on the rest of the paper, so we will be making arcs that show the part of the circle you can see. Do not fret if your circles are not perfect. Mine won't be either. But since we had all of that practice drawing circles last week, they're going to be better. Okay, stopping anytime we get up to our cactus and not drawing through it. We are aiming for probably around 10 or 12 circles. We don't want them super close together because we will be, oops, I drew through a flower. We will be here for way too long if we make them too close together. I mean, art is fun and all, but we don't need to go overboard. Okay, now I'm just down to just a few little arcs here in the bottom corner. All right, that looks good to me. And now it's pattern time. You can come up with whatever patterns you want. You don't have to use mine. You're welcome to use mine. If coming up with this many patterns seems daunting to you, just pick a few and then repeat them. No problem there. I'm going to start making some ray lines in this first circle. I like that kind of making this look a little more sun-like. And then I put a little dot at the end of each of mine. Now the point is, from here on out, we really want to kind of fill in most of the circle with that repeated pattern. So, for instance, when you start out maybe making a zigzag line in this one, this is a really good start. However, the challenge is, can you fill this whole space in with that repeated pattern? Well, sure you can. We'll just do the same thing over again and over again. Whenever I get to a line, I can just stop there. You'll see I'm not really making zigzag lines anymore. I'm really just making this kind of a teepee shape, almost like I'm starting a capital A, until they just don't fit anymore. And when they don't fit anymore, I know I'm done. I can fit some above here though. And then when I run out of paper, I have to kind of imagine where those would be. I have room for a little bit of a teepee shape in here. And then I have completed that first ring. All right, looking back at my color one, you can see the different patterns that I chose. And notice how every so often I have one that's not quite so busy, like this loopy line here. I really liked the way that looked, and I thought about putting extra things in between the loops, and I really just liked it like that. So I kind of have a couple of really busy ones and then a not so busy one. But the more the pattern gets filled in, the cooler this piece looks, I think. And then every now and then when you have a sparse one like down here, well, that looks good because it kind of stands out from the others. And this is something to think about with composition. How you put your piece together is when you have some variance, some really busy parts and some really calm parts, then that ends up helping each part to really stand out and shine better because it's a little different from what's around it. All right, let's talk about this cactus Oh, I hear the baby waking up. Do you hear? All right, we're going to divide our cactus. Daddy's with the baby. Don't need to worry. We're going to divide this cactus into sections. And let's talk about our contour lines again. Remember that contour goes around a shape. So when we make our stripes, we're going to follow this line of the arm of the cactus. There we go. And then we can add our patterns into the cactus. Don't forget about patterns here. Now I did do some repeated patterns. I kind of flipped it on the arms of my cactus. And you can do it however you like. And once all of our patterns are filled in, then we are ready for some color. So let me talk you through my plan on the color scheme here. And if you like it, you can use it. Starting at the very center of my sun, I decided to work from lightest and warmest colors to the darkest cool colors. So the things that are closest to the sun are going to be my light warms, and as we get farther away from the sun and our desert air is cooling down, then we're moving into these cool colors. It looks a little rainbowish in here, but I did switch up the rainbow order because I wanted that yellow closest to the sun, because that's going to be lighter than the red. If I started here and did rainbow, I would be doing red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. But I've pulled the green out of there because we're saving the green for our cactus. And then I've rearranged my warm colors so that I can go from light to dark. So we have yellow, orange, and red. And I had a nice pink paint, so I put that in there after the red. And then I have a light blue, a dark blue, and a purple. And on my cactus here, I chose several different greens, and I tried to put the lightest green, the kind of yellowy green, closer to the side where the sun is. So if you put your sun on a different side, you might want to think about flipping that. But that light green tells us that the sun is shining on that side. And then the darker green tells us that that is in shadow, that's away from the sun. So I have my darker greens on the bottom and the back side of the arms, and then on the side of the cactus that's away from the sun. And then with our nice brownish, tannish desert, I have the darker up front, partially because it's in front of this cactus, which means it's on the opposite side from the sun. Also, it's closer to me, so that's going to appear more bold, and what's farther away is going to get kind of lighter and fainter. So there we go. There's how I painted mine. I can't wait to see how you paint yours. Don't forget to post a picture with our hashtag. Have fun drawing!